And if you had a day on a racetrack and a 765 LT or a 4 GT or a day in the canyons, I'm taking the McLaren
all day.
I'm taking the McLaren for sure. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Off the Record. We love Off the Record here at the Smoking Tire. Use it all the time. Recommend it to everybody that we know. Off the Record is a service that sets you up with qualified attorneys in the jurisdiction where you get a moving violation. Now, maybe that's near your house. Maybe it's near your office. Maybe it's near nothing because you're on vacation, you're somewhere unfamiliar, and that's why you got pulled over in the first place. You don't plead guilty to those tickets. That's for suckers. Instead, call Off the Record, or in fact, go to offtherecord.com/TST or use code TSTPOD, TSTPOD, on the Off the Record app, and that will connect you to a qualified attorney who will fight those tickets for you. Could mean talk to the prosecutor, could mean go to court. You don't have to do anything after that. You just send him a photo, a scan of the ticket, explain the interaction with the officer in your own words, and they handle the rest. Their success rate is in the high 90s, and if they don't get those points off of your record, you don't pay a thing. It's a fantastic system. I've used it. Zach has used it. My friends have used it. It's the best. Offtherecord.com/TST or code TSTPOD on the Off the Record app. Do it now. All right, on this episode of The Smoking Tire, we've got a recap of our trip to Miami where we drove some unbelievable neo-vintage supercars as well as a couple newer ones as well. We talk about what might happen with the Santa Monica Airport and where we'd like to put a racetrack in the middle of Los Angeles, plus some unbelievable Patreon questions from our fine supporters at patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. It's a cruise show. Let's go. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the studio for the cruise show. I was listening to AYG this morning, and I wonder if I should. Foley is so good at doing like intros.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's the same intro every time. He does it without reading it. It's memorized.
Oh, right.
But like
the ones and twos and all the things.
Yeah, like you keep wondering if I should like do something like that.
If you want, it would be fun.
Do you think it would affect anything? You think it would improve our numbers?
I don't know if it would change the numbers.
Oh. Well, why do anything if it doesn't change the numbers?
Well, what the effect is of that is if someone's new to this, like really new to the show, and if they go to the show because of something they saw Foley do or Kevin, it gives context very quickly. It's like, here's everyone who's in the room. If you've never heard Toby before, you're like, who's talking? It does that.
Yeah. Here's who's in the room. Yes. My name is Matt. I'm a cis bald male wearing a blue shirt. It's not
that kind of Zoom call. It's not a Zoom call.
It's not a Zoom call?
It's not a corporate Zoom call.
Shit. Man, remember when Kamala did that? It was a bad look.
That was just
it was a phase at the time.
It was a phase of companies and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Hannah used to have to do that shit too.
Right.
It was it was inclusive to the point of being like a little too much because she had to describe herself for people that couldn't see, but like they don't know what blue is. Like she was like, I don't know what blue is. Like,
oh, like if she's like, I have blue eyes.
Like, she a blind person worked for her and was like, this is dumb. Like this is, and I'm super pro inclusivity. Like I really, in general, like I'm not like, no, it's not like that. Like, yes, make room in the world for everybody, but like the blind person genuinely doesn't care that you're sitting in front of a TST logo that looks like a gauge cluster. Like it doesn't help move the conversation forward.
Right. Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I don't want to say all blind people.
This one.
But the person that her specific actions were for didn't give a fuck at all. So if you're out there and you listen to the show and you are blind and that kind of thing does help you, let me know. I'd be interested to hear that. I would like to learn that perspective.
If they want to, it's like world building. You're telling the story. So I'm curious if they like it. Yeah.
Like if you're blind, like please tell me if that sort of thing helps you or if it's dumb. My guess is that it would be dumb, but like maybe it's not. Maybe there's a very good reason for it to not be dumb?
I don't know. I don't know. I wonder where that originated. Was the idea from a blind person, or is it from someone
I suppose
who was assigned
maybe.
to?
Well,
I don't know.
That is the real question. Is like, because a lot of stuff when it comes to inclusivity, it's not like they went to the person who it's supposed to help and said, "What can we do to help?" There could be a total other panel
Did you
of
watch
people.
American Fiction? That movie?
No.
You?
No, I did. Yes,
yeah,
the one where the guy. Yes.
Right. So it's exactly like that. You know that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That movie, it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, but like the premise of it, like, yeah, it's fucking pretty brutal.
It's really funny.
Yeah. Right. So we went to Miami, where nobody gives a fuck about anybody, as it turns out. Some really nice people in Miami. I have a great time hanging out with Miami folks when I'm down there because, I mean, first off, the ones that we hang out with anyway, very nice people.
Some of the nicest.
The nicest
Yeah,
people.
the curated folks are so nice.
Yeah, John and his team are so nice and helpful. The people at the Concours Club, Aaron Weiss and his team, very helpful, very friendly, very accommodating, you know, to what we were trying to do there.
Shout out Aaron.
Aaron's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron at the Concours Club, he fucking rules. And he listens to the show, so shout out to him. And yeah, if you wanna blow $1 million as fast as possible, get a membership at the Concours Club. You'll go through it.
Yeah,
you will go through it very quickly.
And swing by Curated on your way.
Yeah, pick up a little toy, and then head over to the Concours Club, private racetrack country club. I mean, what's crazy about the Concours Club is that it's like the Thermal Club, which we have in California, but it's in Miami. I mean, you leave your hotel or your South Beach condo or whatever, you're there in 30 minutes.
It would be like there being a racetrack in Culver City or Santa Monica or
ironically there used to be racetracks in those places.
Right now though, you know, it would be next to the Santa Monica airport.
Yeah.
So Harrison Ford could crash into the race course.
I'll tell you what, they're getting rid of the Santa Monica airport. I think they should turn it into a private racetrack country club. That would be awesome.
The neighbors would be like, wait, we went the wrong direction. Now it's louder.
Right? You think it would, well, I don't know. Would it be louder or quieter?
I think GT3 cars are louder than airplanes.
You think so?
I think they're louder than prop planes.
I think you could contain that. I think if you built
a dome?
Not a dome, but some walls, cleverly placed walls, I think you could contain that versus airplanes that have to fly over the houses pretty regularly.
That's a good point.
I think it could be contained. I think if you put noise restrictions as well, like you could make people run like Laguna Seca exhausts, and I think for the convenience of being in the city, they would do that.
I wonder what are their plans for that land?
I heard it's going to be like a park.
Oh, I mean, ironic because it's next to a golf course, which is like a park, but you can't get in.
Yeah. I heard park, and park with possibly like some retail and dining.
Okay,
which
that's cool.
I'm not necessarily opposed to, and it would be great for my business if they fucking kicked everybody out of the hangars there. I'd get a few.
There's a lot of car storage happening there.
Yeah,
a lot less airplane.
Dude, such rent control. People that are concerned about getting kicked out at Santa Monica Airport. They're like, yeah, I pay $2,000 a month for a fucking 12-car garage. What can you do for me? I'm like, not that.
Wow.
Not even, yeah. Dude, Spike shit is mad rent controlled.
That's amazing. Rent controlled hangar. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, but what they're doing now is they're making you like. I don't think you can't get one now unless it's for an aircraft.
Yeah.
So if you have an aircraft in there, then you could also put some cars. But if you don't have at least one aircraft, you know, that was a thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a fucking airport.
Yeah. Especially if someone who has an airplane is like, I was in line. You know, who's ahead of me? 3 people that just have car collections.
Yeah. They keep kicking the can down the road when they're going to close it. It's like I thought it was going to be 2026. Now it's 2028, and you know, I don't know exactly what's happening, but the cost of a hangar there is so cheap that I think a lot of people are going to be in for a very rude awakening if they lose them at what it costs to keep 20 cars.
They'll be selling some cars. Well, Concours Club, as you were saying, is in the center of like the city, and it's next to an airport.
Yeah,
and it's pretty wild. Like you drive down a big street and you turn right at a stoplight, and all of a sudden there's a gate, and then you're at a racetrack.
Yeah, it's not a huge racetrack. It's a smaller track, but I mean, look to exercise your car and yourself in the afternoon, not bad at all. And so we went down there because the folks from Curated, they were doing some of their own content where they wanted me and Zach and Ed Bolian and Aloisa Roof. That is, now the Concours Club is beautiful, but that looks photoshopped. I don't think that grass exists. Does that grass exist?
I
mean, maybe
I stood on grass there, and I got
bit
by bugs immediately because Florida.
That is a beautiful photograph of the Concours Club at noon on July 28th. It doesn't look quite like that. That's like a gorgeous. Wow, that's a great photo. But it really shows it. It's in the middle of nowhere, or in the middle of in the middle of the city, not in the middle of nowhere. So Curated wanted to create some content about vintage supercars. You know, it was self-serving in a good way, right? They sell collectible vintage supercars, and they wanted to create some content for themselves about the future market for collectible vintage supercars.
Right.
So it makes all the sense in the world that they would have us down there to talk about that. And I think that they are in the right place at the right time for this, because as we learned, the average age of a neo-vintage supercar buyer, Countach, Diablo, etc., is low. Like it went from 60s to 30s quick.
Yeah, it's wild.
And that could be Bitcoin money. That could be
tech. I mean, we've seen the expansion of the upper class in the last 20, 30 years. So I think with tech, you can be 26 and go work at a startup and leave a millionaire.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be crypto or anything like that.
That's true.
It's
That's
much wider market.
So we were doing some stuff for them, but we also did 2 videos for ourselves. I drove the 1996 Diablo SVR on the track, which was a very unique experience. That's the one there with the white wheels. And then we also got to drive the 2001 Diablo GTR, which is, instead of being based on the SV, it's based on the GT with a carbon body, the 6-liter motor from Audi, re-engineered obviously, and a much more sort of refined experience from the SVR.
Yeah, the SVR was like raw race car stuff.
Very raw, yeah. And we also got to compare that to some more modern supercars like the Ferrari 458 Speciale, the current generation 4GT, or I should say just outgoing 4GT, and then the RUF CTR. So we didn't leaving the SVR and the 550 Barchetta, which we also drove, leaving those off to the side for the time being because we have videos on that. We didn't really do reviews of those cars for Curated, so I don't think it scoops our content to talk about them now, does it?
What they did, and which we won't scoop, is they have like a bracket, and we all kind of discussed, argued, decided which car was like the best based on some criteria that what you'll see in their videos.
The best car to collect.
Yeah,
it was about
also
the best car to collect. It wasn't purely dynamics.
No.
We talked about investment potential.
But excitement was a
that.
factor.
Sure.
There was some of that stuff. But ultimately it was like, which one should you take home? So that's true. We could talk about the dynamics of them.
Let's do 3 minutes on each car we drove.
Okay.
Ferrari 458 Speciale, which did not actually make it to my photos, strangely enough. Did it make it to your photo? Did you post a photo of it? The people know what a 458 Speciale is, or they should. It's nope, just the 355.
I guess not.
458 Speciale, a lot of people think that this is one of the greatest modern Ferraris. It's the last naturally aspirated V8, the hottest naturally aspirated V8. It's got reduced weight and things like that. But it's a 2015, right? So it's got a dual clutch gearbox and all the modern electronics that we're used to. And you'd never driven one before, right? Was it your first time driving a Speciale?
That was my first time, yeah.
Okay, so what did you think?
Well, I'm also realizing we did talk about the dynamics when we got out of the cars, but it doesn't change the bracket. Or we won't spill the bracket. It
doesn't change the bracket, yeah.
I was surprised by... Maybe it was a little meet your hero situation or my expectations were too high, but I was shocked at some of the imperfections and how big they were. Mm-hmm. Like, not the seats, but like the transmission. With the downshifts were really like not violent, that's the wrong word. They upset the chassis. Unless you were at full threshold braking, and then it wouldn't do that. But even if you're at 90% braking force, it would like lurch forward between 3 to 2, 2 to 1, or 4 to 3, 3 to 2, and that was really strange. I was like, this is a weird bit of programming. Why does that exist? Steering was very nice, grip's nice. I mean, the speed's good. And also like the sound, you get more intake sound than exhaust sound. It's a car that if you're outside of it, you go, that sounds, oh my God, it's the perfect, Ferrari. It's a small V8. And inside, it's just a lot of induction noise, really.
Yeah, it's actually better as a convertible.
That makes sense.
The SA, the special Aperta one, as a convertible, that experience is a really, really nice thing. And you can understand why that is. It changes the sound a bit. There's less like intake resonance. Same thing with GT4 RS and 718 Spider. Same exact thing.
I mean, before, and I don't want to go all negative. Like, it's the thing you could use all the time. That's what's amazing.
Lovely.
Bumpy road mode, and it's a semi-automatic.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable and spacious and all that stuff.
But I actually think it makes you appreciate the current Z06 more.
Yeah.
Because they didn't just try to mimic what the Speciale did. They improved it in some very crucial ways.
Very good point.
So much more, the 458 Speciale is a little pushy. It doesn't have quite enough tire. And maybe some different alignment settings might change that, but it didn't really want to like rotate the same way the Z06 does. It doesn't feel that fast.
It doesn't.
It
was
a nice
95
amount of
degrees.
fast. Yeah.
But
it's a
but
naturally
still 600
aspirated
horsepower.
engine, so
yeah.
And the torque improvement of the Z06 over that is very apparent.
Very.
The Z06 feels much faster.
And what's wild is the Z06 doesn't sound that different.
Yeah.
But the sound of the engine isn't that different, but the characteristic of that torque is definitely unique and noticeable.
It's nice, but in the context of the other stuff it felt a little too sort of normal and
true.
Not all that interesting compared to some of the very interesting things that we drove.
Yeah, I mean the 4GT was like, this is the next evolution of paddle shifted, sort of semi-race sports cars, and the 458 was on its way there. But you can tell it was a step in that direction, and it's not actually the end-all be-all that we might think it is. Yeah,
I actually thought the 4GT aged the worst. I thought in 2017 when I drove that car, I was like, oh, this is rad, this is unbelievable, and maybe it was just because we had a quick go here and I had all day with it on the mountain. Maybe that's different. Maybe the scale of speed on the track versus the mountain isn't exactly the same. But like, compared to the 750S or the 765 LT, both of which you could get for half the money of a Ford GT, the experience of a high-end McLaren is much more exciting.
Yeah.
And also more comfortable, more usable than the 4GT. McLarens have trunks. McLarens have, a comfortable ride on the street.
Shoulder room. Our shoulders were touching in the 4GT. It's amazing for a car that looks so wide. I mean, if you go top view, obviously, like the cabin's very narrow because it almost feels like a center seat open wheel car. But wow, it's really tiny in there compared to McLaren. Louder, more interesting. I think the steering's a little bit better in the McLaren. It is overall a more visceral experience. Yeah. But you also can put a McLaren in automatic mode and just cruise around. I mean, the 4GT feels like a racetrack weapon. It will go very, very quickly around a road course and turn into a great race car.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't sound that great.
Yeah.
It's not enough power where the acceleration is that exciting compared to some other stuff I've driven that costs less money. I mean, obviously, it's very collectible. It looks great. It has a homologation racing connection, and it is fast. But in the context of the other stuff, it feels like it's aged the worst because it's just other stuff is faster and more exciting now. That it costs less money and is also more practical and more streetable, but not really less. If you go to a car show or a whatever, it's not like a 4GT seems so much more exotic than a 765 LT.
True. I see less of them.
Well,
I think
less.
They're rarer, but I agree with you.
And if you had a day on a racetrack and a 765 LT or a 4GT or a day in the canyons, I'm taking the McLaren
all day.
I'm taking the McLaren for sure. Guys, want to take a quick break to plug our own stuff. Nodus watches, the Nodus Canyon, which is my collaboration with Nodus watches. The first 2 colors sold out immediately, mint green and sunset orange. Our third color is live now. It's the Night Sky, a beautiful twinkling blue dial with gold indices and hands. This thing is pimpin'. Our TST patrons got first crack at them, but they're now available to the public. Head over to noduswatches.com. That's Nodus watches, NODUSWATCHES.com to see photos, read the specs, and order one for yourself while they last. There is a very limited number of these to go around, and you definitely want to get one. I'm very proud of this. I wear my Nodus Canyon all the time. I'm wearing it in this podcast. If you can see the video version, you can see it right there on my wrist with the beautiful blue dial, and it is just a great everyday watch, great sports watch, great dress watch. It's incredibly versatile, durable, and well-made, and priced competitively as well. Super, super stoked for this collab. All my years of watch collecting and enthusiasm resulting in something I'm really proud of. So head over to noduswatches.com and get one while they last. Now, back to the show.
I would take lesser McLarens. The 650, 620R we drove. Any of those things are also, in my opinion, more exciting.
Yeah.
They sound better. I like the transmission. I like the steering much better.
The steering was heavy in the Ford GT.
Yeah.
Very heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one to me has not stood up to the test of time as well. We drove the Diablo GTR, which is a race car, but it is actually a street legal race car. It's based on a production chassis.
There we go.
And is there? I took a photo of it, right? I must have.
It's right
there it is. Yeah. It has headlights and taillights. It has blinkers. I don't think it'll pass smog in California, but you can actually road register these things and drive them on the street, which is crazy. What an experience this car was. This was like, holy shit. Because these were built for a spec series, right? It was it was like Ferrari Challenge, but it was like Diablo Challenge.
Yeah, it came out 1 year, not 1 year after Ferrari Challenge, but like 5 years. But yeah, it was great. They were like, hey, it's working for them. Let's also make a racing series.
Yeah, and the engine and the steering was very light and very direct. I thought the gear shifter, the gated shifter, just felt great, and I thought it would be sort of clunky and sucky, and it just wasn't that.
I'm actually getting mixed up. Which is the one that you did a video of, and then which one is the one we drove?
We drove together the GTR.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. This one, I was surprised at how refined it felt. I mean, the noise behind you feels like a war, but steering was super light.
Yeah.
Or that might be alignment, but the steering was incredibly light. I mean, this like carbon steering shaft cover, and then like a whole Alcantara dash. Like it looked 10 years newer than the SVR.
Yeah, well, it was
wild.
Audi had taken over and was like, listen,
and it shows.
We can't make these shit boxes anymore.
It was a wild difference because the SVR looked like we had built it, and we made the center console and a home-built race car kind of toggle panels. And then this thing was pretty damn clean and smooth inside, but then had just absolute violence behind you.
Yeah, and the engine was insanely loud, but also very responsive and felt refined, and the gear shift was so slick, really, really pleasant. The brakes felt great. You know, they weren't squeaky, shitty race car brakes. They felt almost like a fast street car brake. And other than having no air conditioning and it being 1,000 degrees, the mirrors, the side view mirrors, have holes in the side of them that duct in. You really have to be going over like 60. Yeah. So in the fast sections, it actually worked pretty good. In the slow sections, it was like I can't feel my head in here, but it was a real treat to drive that car. Now the thing is, I also drove the SVR, and which is half the price. Same concept from 6 years earlier, and the SVR is the 5.7 SV engine. versus the GTR, which is the 6-liter engine. The SVR was definitely more raw. You'll see in the video, and it was not built as well. I think they probably took the most QC failing chassis off the production line and turned them into these race cars. There was a lot of like mismatched panels and stuff in there, but it drove better than it looked. I mean, it looks awesome, but up close, that's the SVR. That's a better SVR than the one I drove. The one I drove, the gauge binnacle was a different color from the rest of the dash.
Yeah, I was trying to find.
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine this far down the road, a bunch of them have been changed and tweaked. And
Definitely.
And this one had been to Japan, and what that means is the guy put a stereo in it and a bunch of weird stuff. But
like, look how cohesive
the
GTR looks. It's just like just the fact that like one dash line all the way across, and then this Alcantara and all this stuff, and then the GTR and then
the SVR.
Sorry, that's the GTR, and the SVR was like. 4 different people
pretty mismatched.
Made this interior.
Yeah, it was wonky, but it drove better than it looked. It drove really tight. It had a very similar vibe in terms. The steering was heavier, the brakes were a little heavier, and the gear change wasn't quite as slick. But for half the money, to go from there's the interior of the GTR, which that's so clean. It's such a clean design, so legible. I mean, everything you want to know, everything you want to see.
This is the actual car we drove. I don't know why I didn't go to the website before, but then we go back to
the SVR.
The SVR.
Which, if you look at the interior,
no.
Did they not have interior photos of it? That would be very funny.
That is funny. They do not.
Yeah. So the interior doesn't look that great, but. For half the money, it was definitely more than half the experience. A lot more than half the experience. It's awfully close to the same vibe, and it ran really, really good. It felt nice. It sounds different. Sounds more, a little more old school and raw, and a little less modern and refined, but really neat. Then we drove the RUF CTR, which, Habibi. I didn't know if I'd ever get to drive one of these because they build 30 cars a year.
I know.
There was no press car. A couple people went to.
You got to go to there.
You have to go to Pfaffhausen.
Yeah.
And then maybe Alloy will let you drive something.
Yeah. Well, they brought this one to our old office.
Right.
And we saw it, and I think you went for a ride around the block.
Yeah.
Right. But like literally around the block.
And as we learned, that wouldn't have done it.
No,
that would have been too much of a tease.
I mean, this thing is stunning inside and out, and then driving it. Holy!
What a treat!
Yeah.
What a treat! It's like 2,500 pounds.
700 horsepower.
It can make 700 horsepower, but when we drove it, it was like 3 p.m. and it was 102 degrees and humid. So they admitted that in that type of heat, it will not make that much power, but it was still probably knocking on the door of 500, and it was fast, really, really fast. But like, just beautifully analog. All the inputs were right, and it was on all-season tires. Because it had been to the GP ice race.
Yeah.
And so I actually think putting crappy tires on these cars is a great move.
It's the BRZ move.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it actually you're able to really explore the limits of dynamics, and you're not really looking at just the amount of grip it can make, which is really nice because it does a beautiful oversteer entry that's very controllable, and it's really like settled. Really nice.
I was shocked. I've never slid a rear-wheel drive car around like a 911 car. I rode with you, and you started, you kicked that door open. I was like, oh, we're allowed to do this? I guess, kind of. Let's see.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
It seemed so easy, and like you weren't managing huge, weird moves. You weren't having to like huck it in.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I drove 3 corners and just felt all the information from all the different touch points, I went, oh, all right, that's it. And yeah, it was
all you
incredible.
have to do is turn in a little harder than you normally would, and the back just comes around a little bit, pendulum. And then it's just 10% throttle hold, and you're just great.
It was amazing.
Golden.
Absolutely
Such
amazing.
a cool thing. I really understand why people pay all the money for these.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was really good.
Think about how hard it is to build a better Porsche than Porsche. That's so hard. They build such good cars.
They do, but I mean, this is a great example of when you don't have the constraints of accountants or anything else, and you can take someone's concept, and Porsche's execution is obviously very, very good, and you go, all right, if there's no cost involved and no oversight, what do you do with this? Of course, I mean, if you gave a new 911 to racing engineers and you say, unlimited budget, like how fast do you want to go around a track? Like they'll make the 919 Evo, you know? So,
yeah, but they haven't done a carbon tub 911, have they?
No, they haven't. Because I don't think they have the money for that.
I mean, they could have.
Who?
Porsche.
Their accountants probably say no.
Well, the 918 and has a carbon tub. So
True.
The Carrera GT did. So like they could, but they haven't made one that looks like a 911.
You know what they've been able to do though is they can take the normal tub and put some stuff on it, and they go $500,000, and everyone goes, yeah,
that's true.
And so
the margins are better.
The margins, better.
Yeah. The weight of the company Porsche means the margins have to be better. Exactly. RUF is like 50 people.
Yeah.
So they don't have to pay that many salaries.
Right. It's like there's no adults in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they just do what they want.
Yeah.
It's
but
rad.
it's like this car is so cool because it's like the best. It's not like where Singer takes and not that Singer doesn't do a great job, but they take a 964, which is sort of the end of that entire 30 years of sort of styling, right? And then they create a highlight reel, like an air-cooled highlight reel, where each bit of the car is the best, is from the best of those 30 years. It's a greatest hits mixtape of air-cooled 911. Whereas RUF, what RUF has done with this car to create this sort of highlight reel of the 964-esque styling, with the Yellowbird touches, and then a custom-built version of Metzger engine architecture that's just super strong, and then carbon tub. It's just
it's like the greatest hits, but it's the best of today's tech and then also some of yesterday's tech.
Yeah,
like Metzger architecture, but then they make the block themselves. So it's like, oh, it's strong as hell. It's the 996 block, the thing that can do 1,000 horsepower. It's the 2J of Porsche, but now we put it in a carbon tub.
Pretty fucking rad.
Yeah,
real, and you can when you get it, just when you're sitting, you can feel that sort of the smoothness of it all. Like it was the smoothest power of any car that we drove.
Definitely. Was it the only? No. Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say it's the only turbocharged car, but I realized the 4GT is turbocharged too.
Oh yeah.
So that was a very smooth engine as well.
The Ferrari 550 Barchetta is a V12. That's very smooth, but not in the same way. This was smooth.
Yeah, it's also like the engine's behind you versus in front of you. The vibration's different and stuff. I think they're both pretty buttery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I understand why those are $2 million or whatever. They're not, you can't even buy them.
They make 30 cars a year.
Yeah, you have to apply to get one of these things.
You do?
Great. Yeah, you can't just show up with money. You have to be friends with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're friends with them now.
Yeah,
we just need the money.
We could probably get one if we really
liquidate everything.
Yes, full liquidate. If I liquidate buildings, I could probably get one. Yeah. Like real estate. But
as the song says, I got 5 on it.
It was that car was a real treat.
Yeah, it's a stunner, inside out, dynamically, everything.
But Ford GT aside, it was a whole lineup of cars that I'd never driven before, and that I'm never likely to drive again. I could pretty much guarantee that I'll never drive any of those cars ever again.
That's why it was, my favorite press event of the year, because it's nothing we'll ever see on a dealership, ever be able to touch, probably.
Yeah.
And they were extremely generous with don't go 10/10. Like, let's not break these things we need to sell. But they also didn't say, whoa, you guys are going way too fast. They were they trusted
cool
us
about it.
And we were respectful, and that was amazing. Yeah. It was pretty great.
Yeah, they were pretty cool about it. And I also got to have a quick go in Daisy, the 2004.
You mother.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault that I'm upset. We know whose fault it is.
You didn't ask enough to go. They would have said yes if you had.
Oh, I asked them there, but we didn't have time.
And they said no?
I think they let you drive it, and then it was like parked over there, and then they went, this is irreplaceable and worth several $1 million. Like put it on the truck.
And
put
on
it on the truck.
20-year-old tires.
Yeah.
That was maybe it too. But I got to have a little go, and I have an Instagram video I haven't put up yet that we didn't make a video of it. I just did a little Instagram thing, but it was really, really interesting because it has a V10 prototype engine based on the Triton V10, but with 4 cam heads. I have no idea how much power it makes. It doesn't really sound very V10-like.
No, when you went by, it sounded like 427 Cobra.
Yeah,
really did.
But the chassis is sort of a backwards Ford GT. So
what?
It's on a sort of modified Ford GT architecture that's spun around.
Wow.
Yeah. And the gearbox is the Ford GT Recaro gearbox, which is super smooth and amazing.
According to the Autopian, where's my camera? I'm mad at them. It makes 600 horsepower.
That's probably
Did
right.
it feel like that? Well, it was hot.
I didn't. I also didn't go flat, and it doesn't have a tack.
Oh,
Like the gauges that work are the ones that need to. Oil pressure is a prototype.
Temp,
yeah. Speedometer, tack are present but don't do anything.
Got it.
So I wasn't going flat and banging gears. I was having a little cruise, but it was remarkably tight. I mean, it was obviously prototypey pieces, but it drove like it could have been ready for production. The brakes were great. The pedals were spaced properly.
That's good.
They could have
Series 1,
The clutch feel. The clutch had a little delay on it, which was a little weird. Like they had to, like the hydraulics of the clutch were just behind the pedal action. So it wasn't quite ready for prime time, but I got used to it fast enough. You could heel toe and it was fine. The Recaro gearbox has the best shifter ever, the smoothest. The 4GT is the perfect shifter.
Yes.
And so that was really nice. The steering was nice. It rode okay, considering I was on a track. It just, I'll never get anywhere near that car ever again. That's the only time I'll be in its presence probably. And I got to have a little go, and it was not a piece of shit. If it could have been a piece of shit, and if it was a piece of shit, it's still an interesting story.
Well,
but
the previous owner, Bo Bachman, that's the only time I saw it at his collection.
Yeah.
And he said, it works. He's like, oh, no, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind. I thought it was made of clay, and it was just a concept. And he's like, no, that's a running, driving car.
Yeah. No, I'd put new tires on that, and I'd fucking throw a dealer tag on it, and I'd drive it.
It looks so good.
It has blinkers. It has headlights. I would 100% drive that car on the street.
That is a perfect continuation of the Cobra.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And it's sad that they couldn't make that, because to drive it, you go, oh yeah, they could have made this. This isn't that far off what you need it to be. Mm-hmm. The ergonomics were super weird, just like a fucking Cobra.
I wonder if Ford owns the IP to this still.
Yeah.
They should make it.
Yeah.
Farley,
maybe.
please.
It's very, very cool. I'll put the video up on Instagram later today. It's not a great video. There's a lot of wind noise. I had to put subtitles on it. I mean, it's literally a phone video.
Yeah.
I'll throw it up, but it's worth having just because it's who else gets to drive that fucking thing. So it's 4 minutes, but I got to do it. So yay.
I also got to drive some cars for Cars and Bids. I don't want to talk about the dynamics because I did in the videos, but 355 homemade challenge wasn't even a. It wasn't
not a real challenge.
Not a real challenge. It's a car that the story's pretty rad. This was a regular GTB. It got stolen a year after it was bought and stripped, and then a mechanic race shop bought the shell and the block and was like, all right, let's make this into a race car then, because all the pieces are gone. The doors were gone, the hood was gone, and so they made a bunch of stuff out of carbon fiber in the 90s, which was hard, and then it has a built motor and just full race gear in it. So they took it racing in the Speed Vision Challenge series, which is different than Ferrari Challenge.
Okay.
And the thing is pretty fucking quick.
It's very loud.
It is.
It sounds.
I didn't realize how loud it was when I drove it, and then I heard John Tamarian drive it, and I went, "Oh my god!"
It's very loud.
You interrupt everyone's conversation. With that thing.
It sounds like race cars are supposed to sound.
Yeah.
All race cars should just sound like that. Yeah.
It just makes me want to buy a 355.
Yeah, they're great.
Or just follow one around while it drives, and then I don't have to pay for it. But good Lord.
Yeah, and you drove a 6-liter AMG.
I did.
Which those are not very common, and they're very collectible.
Yeah.
And how did it drive?
Like you'd expect, probably kind of like your Bentley, although this had coilovers on it from a AMG, so it was actually stiffer than I expected. Like around some of the bumpy roads of Miami, it was not softly sprung floating, but I think if you were in a twisty road, it would feel more akin to a modern AMG in that it would actually turn. But it's got all this like new tech for back then. This is 1995. It had
85
auto
buttons.
climate control, so many buttons, so many things. The little I'm going to turn that off before I get someone epilepsy.
Yeah.
It had like the little seatbelt robot. Like that was when that came out. It had all these new things on it. The thing was fast. I drove it on the highway.
Well, a 6-liter motor is 385 horsepower. For 1985, that's the same power a Testarossa made.
Well, it didn't have the 4-valve head that the Hammer gets.
It had a 2-valve.
Okay. But they still had a dyno sheet.
So what is that, 350-something horsepower?
Yeah, and it made like 400-plus pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
Like, once the thing hits 3,000 RPM, I watched the speedo, and I had to quickly do kilometers to miles per hour math, and I went, oh, shit. It's got to slow back down. It's really fun to learn about that stuff. It had a lot of subtle mods from AMG. It didn't have the wide body kit, but they did a lot of stuff.
Early AMG is really, really collectible right now, and so I don't know what that car is gonna get on Cars and Bids, but I mean, if it was that with a wide body, it's probably $500,000.
Yeah.
If it's a wide body and it has a 4-valve head, which there were 2 or 3 of those at Curated.
Yeah.
They're probably closer to 7.
Yes.
They're very, very, very collectible, and they're really cool.
It's rad.
The thing about these old, lug Mercedes is because they're automatic, slush box. It's not like you'd want to take them up a canyon and mob. They're fast cruisers, really.
Yeah, it's about.
It's a statement.
A little bit of
attitude.
it's attitude, and the thing looks badass. Like with the black trim and everything. It's all blacked out AMG badges in the back, so it's one of those like if you know things, and it just looks stealthy and tough, and the shape is amazing. I mean, it's kind of like, again, like go back to your Bentley, the long hood, short tail, that era of design, where it was like everything was a like smoothed out hammer, like fist, like knight's gauntlet. Yeah. And it was just kind of like that. And you just felt cool driving it. And it's extremely comfortable. Back seat's pretty roomy. You could definitely fit adults back there for a short trip. The thing sounds loud if you put the windows down. If you put the windows back up, it's just kind of like, actually it sounds like a Crown Victoria inside. It does.
That's funny.
The kind of like the general sound of a V8 and an automatic. There's just like a washing machine thrum and a little burble and da-da-da. Yeah. But when you roll down the window, you hear the exhaust system. When you roll it back up, it's like there's just all these mechanical sounds.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
They're such cool cars, though.
Such a rad car.
I understand why people pay so much money for them. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So thank you to Curated for hosting us in Miami, and it's always a nice... I hate going there in the fucking summer. I really like... Next time, let's do this in January because summer in Miami stinks, but still a great time, great cars.
One random story, and then we should go to Q&A.
Is this new? Just today?
This broke hours ago.
How the fuck is Recaro filing for bankruptcy?
I don't know.
They must be run... That company must be run so horribly. I mean, it's an OEM supplier for so many fucking people.
And an aftermarket seat supplier.
Yeah.
They've got their feet in both
areas. They're selling seats they designed in the 80s still. It's not like, obviously they are coming up with new designs and research as well, but like, they're still profiting off shit they designed in the 80s.
Yeah.
That people are putting in 80s cars.
Like, they're like... They're like the OPM trade. They're like, we sell to Pfizer and... to the people on the street, and somehow we're out of money.
Yeah, and it says for the 5th time.
Meanwhile, that's BBS.
Oh, BBS. Oh, okay. Sorry, I read that wrong.
For the 5th time.
How is that possible? So
it's only their automotive division because they have an airplane division also.
Okay.
But still, as you said, OEM supplier, aftermarket seats. I mean, they're arguably the best seat maker supplier in the world. I don't know. They must.
We expect all. Okay. I mean, it's got to just be bad financial management because it's not like they're not selling seats. Okay, so the office chairs, aircraft, gaming chairs, and baby seats are yeah, they sell like a $2,500 baby seat. Imagine the margins on stuff like that, and can't make it work. It's got to be super mismanaged. Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go out of business.
Someone will buy them.
They'll probably what do you call it?
Refinance
their debts and whatever. Let's go to the people. In the Patreon, of course. Is the stream okay still? Yeah. Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast is where you do it. Get in on the live streams, assuming they're working better than ours is today. Get the show ahead of time. Get an ad-free listening experience. Support your favorite podcast and a whole lot more over at Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. Thomas says, if you had to add one automotive event to the Olympics, what would it be? So in the Olympics, in events where you use a vehicle, and I'm mainly thinking of
bobsled.
Well, maybe
vehicle.
not. No, so like I'm thinking about sailing. In sailing,
that's in the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like dinghy racing, not big boat sailing. Lasers.
Oh yeah. Okay.
International 420s or 470s, and some Hobie. I think maybe Hobie Cats. There's some small boats. The
International 420 is a great name for a cigarette boat that's transporting marijuana from Cuba to Miami.
I used to sail those in high school, and I did understand the irony of the International 420. But the Olympics provides the boats, so it's a spec. It's all spec, right? That you don't get to bring your own boat. And so I think it would have to be like a race of champions type of format where the Olympics provides, Miatas or like Cayman GT4s or something.
I agree with you completely. I would do a spec side-by-side series, something like King of Hammers-ish. Because I like that when you get stuck there, someone has to jump out and winch, they have to fix things. Like I think it kind of encompasses all of automobile operation.
Oh, that's interesting.
And there could be like a hard, tarmac road on the way.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a good it's like an automotive decathlon. You're like, you got to fix a ring gear on your diff now, or
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Dr. Sourbones, $50K to buy a weekend car. What are you buying? Mostly highway and rural driving.
Well, what kind of highway? Like 2-lane or highway? I
don't know. We got to interpret. We get to interpret that one.
I go Cayman S.
I would probably get a Porsche. A Cayman S is a good one, or a Boxster S. $50K will probably get you into a 997S in today's market. A good one with a manual. That's probably a good place to start too. Old Rusty Bimmer wants to know about Radwood. I don't know anything about Radwood. Radwood is a Haggerty property, and therefore I am out. Justin says, thank you for my how to heel toe video. Yeah, still high in the rankings for the heel toe video. A lot of people use that to learn how to do your footwork, and that is the best 15 minutes I have ever invested in anything. All-wheel drive biased. I have a black Audi A3 3.2 DCT. That's the Audi version of the Mark V R32. A similar year Audi TT 3.2 convertible DCT. That's the Audi TT version of the Mark V R32. Decent spec, black over brown, went on sale for $5K more than I can get for my A3. Is the upgrade from the A3 to the TT enough of a reason to part ways with my A3 that I own free and clear and have put some mods into? I have a Forester as a daily.
Oh.
So you definitely don't need a Forester and an A3 3.2.
Right.
Those cars do the same thing.
I mean, I think it's a finance question, but if you have enough saved up, I think getting the TT is great. It's going to feel a lot more special, and it's a dedicated sportish car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather have the TT than an A3 for sure. I'd rather have a TT 225 Quattro with a stick, if that's if that's on the table, like a Gen 1.5 TT with the baseball glove stitching and the Bauhaus styling. And
is that the 2 liter or is it 1.8?
It's 2.0. No, 2.0. 225 horsepower. And the nice blocky fucking Avis wheels.
Yeah,
I love
those are
that.
great.
I'd rather have that. But and the other question is like, do you want a convertible? I mean, I like convertibles. I drive my cars with the top down where possible. So, but like, do you want a convertible? I mean,
I assume so because you can get these as a coupe, right? So you can always get a TT coupe.
Yeah,
they're cool looking. They're just such rad looking cars.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly the TT is more collectible. Maybe you can take some of those parts off of the A3 and put them on the TT, depending on what they are.
Yeah.
They're platform shared, so it's possible you may be able to reuse some of that stuff. I probably would. I don't think having a Forester and then an A3 hatchback is different enough to justify.
That's probably why all-wheel drive is
cars.
shopping. Yeah. It's a little redundant.
Yeah, I agree. Arun says, have we thought of doing off-road videos as a Patreon exclusive, maybe even an in-car podcast?
We could. I mean, we could do a simple off-road one for Champions Tier or something. I think the thing is, car companies wouldn't want to give us cars just for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're okay with you doing like the Instagram post and they know that that's what's happening and we're talking about it on the podcast, then fine.
I haven't had any complaints about that so far.
Okay.
The problem with off-road videos is that they're a lot of work for not being viewed very much. And so if it's a Patreon video, then they're viewed even less.
I think we would have to know that, like 100 of you lovely pro drivers would want to upgrade to Champion Tier for that content. So if it's just you, Arun, we're probably not going to do it. No offense. If a lot of people were doing it, we go, all right, now there's a financial incentive and it's justified.
Yeah. Timbo says, should the Miata offer 25 to 40 more horsepower? And if so, would a turbo be the easiest way? It's too slow as is. I disagree with that assessment of the Miata.
I mean, the engine is wonderful. Like, it suits its character. It revs to the moon. It feels great all the time. It's not exciting in a straight line.
No.
You just have to get over that and just go, this is a momentum car. And you will, trust me, like, if you drive it, Timbo, or if you have, like, you'll have fun in the corners. And it's a different type of car than getting a Mustang GT or a Camaro or something where it's, like, more about straight line speed. So I think if they're going to do it, they would do turbo because it's more efficient. It's just more efficient than a supercharger.
Yeah, or, I mean, it's a 2.0, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or if they made it a 2.5.
If they punched it out?
Yeah.
That's true. That might be more challenging for reliability and things if they, like, hot rodded it, depending on, like, the thick.
Are we talking about aftermarket or if Mazda did that?
Mazda.
You think Mazda couldn't make a reliable 2.5 4-cylinder?
Oh, no, I think they can. I just don't know if they could do it with the engine that they already have in the Miata. So. Yeah.
I think, I mean, if we're talking about factory horsepower, then yeah, a turbo would probably be the easiest way to do it, a small turbo.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would change the character of the car in a way that ultimately I probably wouldn't prefer.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs really more power. I mean, I think it's okay that some cars don't have a lot of power. I think that car is as fun as cars that are a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, would I say no to more power? Like, no, I wouldn't say no to more power. But like, I'm not getting in a Miata going, I'm expecting this thing to be really fast.
I think if it magically had 40 more horsepower and the engine was still NA and still rev the way it did, I would, of course, welcome that. But if you put a turbo on it, then it would just feel totally different. The Fiat, the 124, that had a turbocharged engine.
And it was bad.
It was a bad turbocharged engine.
Yeah.
So could Mazda make a better one? Probably. But that was a Miata with a turbocharged engine. And I remember at the time, I was like, oh, the torque is kind of nice. But looking back on it, I would not trade.
No, it died up top.
Yes.
It was all low-end torque, and then it had no revs.
Yeah.
It stunk. The 124 was so bad that when I went to review it, I refused to review it. Remember in Italy? It was in Italy.
Oh, drive shoot.
Yeah. I was supposed to do it as a segment, and I said to JF, after driving it for like 4 hours, I said, listen, buddy, I don't have anything nice to say about this car. Everything about it it started with a Miata and then was made worse. It looks worse. The inside's worse. The engine's worse.
Bigger, I think.
Yeah, everything about it was worse. Everything. So it was like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, you don't have to do it. I didn't. I don't remember what they did with the car. But I did not.
I remember driving it back from location there with Spinelli passenger seat. I just remember going through tunnels in it and it feeling very slow. But it was top down. It was kind of fun.
I mean, but it wasn't better than a Miata, and it was more expensive. Yeah,
because the Miata, it redlines at 72, and it feels like it redlines at 9.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, this could keep going. It's
the smoothness of that engine is what it's about.
Yes,
and the momentum driving and being in the right gear and being able to like rip on. Like, I wouldn't want an engine that wouldn't handle abuse as well if it made 40 more horsepower.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be that for me. Ivan says, many articles are speaking about manufacturers backing down on EVs. Do you feel this is a reality or blown out of proportion in search of a reaction of those who oppose changes and prefer ICE? Well, I think it is a reality because the fact is the market is not ready for a 100% EV fleet. I mean, all these manufacturers said we're going to be 100% EV by whatever 2030, and killing off internal combustion engines, not going halfway and offering hybrids. And the fact is there's a lot of people for whom an EV is either too expensive, because they are more expensive, or too inconvenient because they can't charge at home. And consequently, those cars are sitting on lots. They're not moving. They're getting discounted. A lot of the manufacturers are already losing money on them because of the investment and tooling and cost of batteries and stuff like that.
Plus, the efficiency of ICE cars right now is insane. I mean, if you shop for an efficient car, not a fun car. I'm talking Camry, Civic, Accord. 40 plus miles per gallon highway. So if you start doing the math of how long is it going to take me to drive this EV and not have to get gas, and you factor in electrical costs at your house or charging, like you have to drive them for years and years and years. And my cousin called me. He's shopping for a car. They're looking at hybrids, all these other things. And I told him about the math, and he lives in Cleveland. He's like, dude, gas here is like $3 a gallon. I go, okay, so instead of it taking you 6 years to offset the cost of the EV, it's going to take you 10. Or something like that. So there's just I think there's a lot of factors working against the EVs right now.
Yeah, and so, but the other stuff, the second half of Ivan's question isn't untrue. There is a lot of people that are opposed to EV mandates for a variety of reasons, and some of these articles are representing those points of view, and not necessarily. It's not black and white. But just driving around LA and looking at what's on dealer lots, like there's a lot of EVs on dealer lots. Looking at the deals you can get on mid-range EV crossovers right now, or Lucids or Rivians or whatever, the market is pretty soft on those. Not to mention 7% interest. Your payments are going to be huge.
Yeah.
And there's not a huge amount of confidence in the used residual values as well. So like I'm not shopping for used EVs right now. Like I don't know who is. So I think those you got a high interest rate, you got an expensive car, you got you got a big gap with your depreciation.
Oversupply, because someone could buy a used one if they want and save money and not to buy a new one.
Yeah. Derek, hi Derek. My birthday is tomorrow and I've got $1,000 to spend on an automotive related experience. How should I spend it? Based out of San Diego. I would say Porsche Experience Center. $1,000 will get you something pretty good there.
Yep.
You do not need any experience.
They are there to teach you.
Yeah. You can drive something cool with instruction. You'll learn something and you'll see some cool cars.
And if you do like the wet skid pad stuff or the kick plate, like it's really exciting. And it's stuff you won't be able to do at an HPDE day or something like that. So that's really cool.
I would do that, yeah. Or if not that, some like like proper outdoor karting. Like karting, I don't know who's got a really good outdoor, or you could do Drift 101.
Pomona,
although
I think still has outdoor karting.
Do they?
I think.
Okay. Drift 101.
Yep.
Is that $1,000? That might be more than $1,000.
It was less before.
Really?
That may have gone up. I haven't been there in
Okay.
4 years, 3 years, but check.
Look into Drift 101. It's up at Willow Springs.
Yep.
But that's a great one too. Although if you have no HPD or track experience, well, maybe.
Sarah went to
Yeah.
Drift 101 with 0 track experience, and she had a great time and learned a lot.
Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe I would say PEC or Drift 101. That's what I would do. Flannel Bob says, what are some of the better questions to ask someone about their car at meets or shows? I feel awkward and nerdy expressing my appreciation for someone's car, and I feel let down when they don't know anything about it. I think you're right. If someone has a car and doesn't know anything, what are you asking someone about their car that they don't know?
That's true.
I mean,
How specific are you getting? You know, like, I don't know, like what's your torsional stiffness? And you're like, I don't know. You're like, idiot.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say, how long have you had it?
Why'd you get it?
Why'd you get this?
Over these other things.
Yeah,
and ask, curious, don't be like, why'd you get this instead of a C63?
Yeah. I wonder what, I wonder what kind of, I mean, if you happen to know like very nerdy things about the car, you could be like, you know what I love about this car? I love that the compression ratio is 12 and a half to 1. And then you'll know how nerdy they are about it. But yeah, I'd keep it general.
Keep it general, and if they're a super nerd, you'll quickly know.
Yeah.
And then you can nerd out together.
Yeah.
And just be complimentary,
Yeah. That's true. Keep it general and keep it light.
Yeah.
Let them indicate how much they know. You might feel let down when people don't know as much about it as you, but like that's okay. That's fine. People like cars for all different kinds of reasons.
And at car shows, there's always going to be someone who knows everything about their car. So if you're talking to someone that doesn't know, let's say, enough to interest you, Flannel Bob, you can just look for the Miata person, look for the modified Miata, and they probably know everything about their car.
Yeah. Fever bids. In an online car auction, is there any benefit to bidding early? Anything meaningful to be learned from early bidding? It feels like a week of collaborative due diligence followed by a 1-hour auction at the end. I think that's pretty close, except it's like a 12-minute auction at the end. The only thing that I would say could be beneficial to bidding early, if it's a no reserve auction and somehow it slips through the cracks and people don't see it, like that could be it. If it makes you as a bidder feel more invested in the auction to have bids in, that could be it. If it's like a self-commitment thing. Or if you really plan on grilling the seller about the car, having a bid in there
justifies your grilling.
It gives you a position of I'm invested somewhat in this. And so if I'm listing a car for a client and I see there's someone who's posted a question about the car, I'm going to answer it for sure. But if there's someone who's got 3 or 4 bids in the first few days of the auction, and now they're asking some real questions about it, I assume this person is more serious. And not every seller is as diligent as I am because I'm being paid to market this car for somebody. But it puts you in a position of investment.
Now, do you think there's ever a move where you bid early strong and it might scare away other people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also there is also we've had auctions where someone put in a monster bid on the first day and that was it. Everybody else was out. You know what I mean? Like there is a strategy there of if you are, here's another one. Here's another advantage. If you go, okay, I am in at this up to $50,000 and no more. And I don't want to be involved in a bidding war because a bidding war, you could overpay for the car. And if you're purely calculated, you go, I'm just going to throw my number in. Here's my number, $50,000, day one, here's where it's at. The rest of the market might go, okay, this is 50 grand and it's going to go to him, and I'm not going to, because the mentality of I'm going to win, it's going to get away, that happens at the end. So you throw your actual bid, what you really would pay for this car, day one, and then you walk away. 7 days later, you might get an email. So, because you can win, you can lose by winning.
Right, absolutely.
If you pay 25 grand over for a car because you got in a bidding war, you didn't just win, you lost.
And that's where the psychology can be a problem. Because you go, I want to win. I really want this car, and I want to win.
Right.
Dangerous.
Yeah. So if you're a cold, calculating motherfucker, don't throw the number on day one. Throw it on like day 3. Because when that email goes out of new listings, people will see it, they'll throw in some numbers. You'll get a little flurry of action on day 1, and then you get crickets for the rest of the week. Wait till it gets lost in between the shuffle, then throw your number in. Yeah, that's a good question. Nathan Reynolds, thoughts on the Resto Mod 355? We'll still need the engine out belt service, and it's 3 times the price of a standard one. I mean, look, I think it looks neat in the staged studio photographs. The Evoluto, I would like to see what it looks like in daylight. They're trying to do a Gunther thing with a 355, including some of the same exact parts like the steering wheel. I look forward to driving one. We have the person who runs this company is a friend of ours, and the person who does their PR is Rob from Lotus, who's now over there, which is very nice because Rob was our host at Lotus when we went to Goodwood last year.
Great human.
And apparently this one will be at Pebble. It's not quite ready for media to drive. In photos, I like it.
I think they, copied or paid homage to the shape very well. It looks like they haven't messed it up. If it's lighter than the regular one,
400 pounds lighter.
It's going to be fast. It's going to sound amazing. And as long as the ergonomics in this car are better than the ergonomics in the car I drove, then it's a win.
They might be. Depending on the seats.
I don't know how you could dislike this.
There's people who think that changing the styling cues of this car is like sacrilege. They think it's perfect as is.
Then buy one of those.
Which you can.
Right.
Yeah.
They're around.
Totally can. I think as we learned at Curated, see, they got the same steering wheel as the Gunther.
That's funny.
As we learned at Curated, there is a huge market for these types of cars where it looks like the car from the poster, but it's made better, it's lighter, it performs better. Some of the things about the car that were problematic have been addressed and improved. And so I think they'll sell every one of these they can build.
And look, when it's a car that is so beloved because of its appearance and how it sounds, and if there are people that can afford 10 of those because they go, well, I love the 355, but it's not that special to me because I'm super rich and, a lot of my employees also own 355s or can. But if you can have the thing you love made even better and made to perfection, basically, like RUF CTR, same thing, then why would you say no to that? Instead of going, I don't want a McLaren. I don't want a Pagani. I'm not into that styling. I love the 355, but I wish we could take some of the tech and attention from those other cars and put it in this.
Yeah, and right now there's a huge market for analog, stick shift, naturally aspirated, cars with levers and buttons and not screens and paddle shifters and hybrid systems. And so this leans into that. And so I haven't we haven't seen it in person. I look forward to seeing it at Pebble. And checking it out, and they absolutely said we can drive it as soon as it's ready. They said we can drive it, so I think it will probably drive awesome. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah. If it doesn't drive awesome, then whoever made it fucked up.
The stock one drives pretty good, so if it doesn't drive great, it's a problem. Anthony L. It's my 28th birthday, and I've never been more stressed. I'm sorry to hear that, Anthony. Where were you guys at 28, and would you go back if you could? 28 would have been 2009. That would have been 2009. We were starting.
Just moved to L.A.
We were starting the Smoking Tire.
Very stressed.
It was I was stressed, but also I think I think I was enjoying life. I think being new in LA, the sunshine.
True.
You know, making videos with my friends. Lived in that cool little cottage in Redondo Beach that I really liked that cottage. Getting fucking shit-faced at the Hermosa Beach bars. That was a good time.
I was financially stressed as hell, but I was extremely excited because I had also just moved to LA and started working on car things, which was the goal when I moved here. And it started happening within a few months.
Yeah.
So it was very exciting because like, oh shit, this idea I had might not be insane.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, if you're, whatever your sources of your stress are, only you know that. But I think 28 is probably an age where you kind of start becoming an adult and you're getting away from early 20s where you can be a little less responsible and, I don't know, maybe you're a little more focused on your future now. And that can be daunting.
My 30s were better than my 20s.
Yeah.
I had a lot more fun in my 30s. I had enough money, enough stability, but still plenty of like energy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say my 30s were more fun than my 20s. So if you're not enjoying your 20s right now, Anthony, I would say try to focus on setting yourself up for a good 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim A says, how would you improve the steering wheel on the C8 Corvette? So get rid of the square.
Make it round.
Yeah.
Just make it round.
Yep. No one ever complained about a round steering wheel.
You could even do flat bottom and I'll be fine, but just make the rest of it round.
Yeah. The new trend is to fuck up the shape of the steering wheel in order to make the gauges more visible. But like a well-designed gauge cluster works with a round fucking wheel.
Yeah, I think the Corvette kind of painted itself in a corner. They're like, well, here's our design language, and here's our cabin constraints, and here's our binnacle. Like, it is what it is now. So that's, I don't know. It'd be fun to drive a race car. I'm sure the wheel is round on the race car. So that would be interesting.
I don't know. Look up C8R interior. I bet it's more like a yoke.
Oh, good point. If the rack's really quick.
I would bet that it is.
Oh, it is a yoke with all the buttons.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe GT3 car? No.
But a rally car. Rally cars have round wheels.
Yeah, true.
Because you need to be.
Just make it round.
Yeah, I would say round is the. Although I do wonder if, assuming the rest of the car looked the same, basically the same, I wonder if a round wheel would like look stupid on that car.
I think it would look a little odd because there's so many angles inside. I mean, there's a reason. I think there's an aesthetic reason and a practical reason that the wheel is a squeal. But when you operate it, I think I would get over the looks really quickly because when I'm operating it, I think of it all the time. So what would you rather do? Like have it feel right but look a little strange?
Man,
removable steering wheel.
I mean,
perfect.
Usually if it feels right, it also looks right. I remember I told you about that Audi S4 that I sold because it had the 4-spoke steering wheel rather than the 3-spoke steering wheel. The rim was the same.
Yeah.
You know, but it looked stupid on that car.
Ooh.
You know, but.
That's a tough choice. Would you rather have it drive with your eyes closed? Problem solved.
I'd rather have it feel good than look good. Like there's some of those cars now have this 2-spoke steering wheel that I do not like looking at, but it usually feels okay in my hands.
The Lucid one looked okay.
The Lucid one is fine.
It fits the design language for me.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't go wrong with round. It's just things that spin should be round. This is not rocket science. What do you look?
I looked up to see if anybody had put a round steering wheel on their C8, and I can't find anything.
Yeah, that might be tough with the airbag and stuff. Matt Ortiz was listening to an old episode with Steve Dinan where he said M-car motors need a rebuild at $150K.
Hope that's not true.
Yeah. What does he know?
Fuck.
Matt's got an E46 M3 with $193K. Requires lots of maintenance, but the motor pulls pretty strong. What's your opinion on high mileage motors? Would you spend the money to rebuild or would you use that money in other ways if it was your own car? Do you avoid high mileage cars entirely? So I don't have any high mileage cars. I suppose I am in a position where I can buy lower mileage cars and I like that.
And the Lexus is sort of an anomaly.
The Lexus was an anomaly.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say in the case of your motor, if it doesn't smoke and it behaves right, I wouldn't just rebuild it just to rebuild it.
No, I'd wait till there's a problem.
Yeah.
I think Porsche owners are a great example and a source of information, Matt, because a lot of G-body and air-cooled car owners, like they love the car so much that it's now kind of assumed at 100,000 miles you have to rebuild the top end.
Yeah, so an air-cooled motor is supposed to need a top-end rebuild every 100K and a bottom-end rebuild every 200K.
Right.
But even a good mechanic will tell you that if you get to the 100K and the motor doesn't smoke, you don't have to do it right away. So
you don't need to preemptively.
Yeah, no. So a lot of Porsche motors will get to 120, 130K without needing the top end rebuild, and you'll know it needs it because it starts to smoke, and it won't explode.
Right.
When it starts to smoke, you schedule your top end rebuild, and then you drive it to the shop, and it's fine.
And I would wager that Steve was, he's talking about power loss. So if you start to lose power or compression in your engine, you need to rebuild it. But as long as the rod bearings are in good shape, you're not going to have a catastrophic engine failure. You're just going to go, oh, it feels tired. And then if you love the car, then I think that's the decision between rebuilding and not rebuilding.
Yeah, but 193K E46 M3, a full engine rebuild has got to be approaching the cost of just buying another car with 100,000 miles on it.
Or at least finding an engine in a junkyard for sure. I mean, you can find an E46 M3 engine on eBay. I am sure of it.
Yeah.
And if they do a leak down test, hopefully the seller does a leak down test, you might get an engine for cheaper.
Yeah, you buy a whole other engine, pull your engine, sell it, and then sell it on eBay and put the new engine in your car.
So here, eBay, S54s range from $6,500 to $11,000. That's a Z4 with no head on it. They're like $7,000.
Yeah.
So find out how much it costs to rebuild it and see.
Yeah.
Benefit of rebuilding is you can get it punched out if you want to. I mean, you can modify it.
Yeah.
You can kind of do it to your spec, but it's not going to be cheap either way.
Yeah. I mean, but if you love the car, just make sure you've got the fucking bankroll.
Totally.
Because something expensive is going to happen, which I'm guessing you already know. Kevin King wants to talk about EAG. That's the company down in Texas. So the guy who was running it, whose name was Art, was like a criminal and an embezzler and a problem. He has been kicked out of the company. Okay, and other people are running it now. The investors took over. They kicked him out. They restructured the company. Kevin says, first Freddie manual swapped the Scud, and now Vin Wiki did a 360. Is this a show from EAG to win favor? What's going on with them? First of all, it's a strategy by theirs to work with influencers. Okay, and so that was a strategy before, and that's a strategy now. But the guy who was really the problem, whose name was Art, who can go fuck himself, was kicked out of the company. And there's still issues with him that I don't know exactly what they are, but a bunch of people who got fucked are still trying to get back from him. Wow. Because he took a lot of money. So he literally took deposit money from customers and then just like spent it on shit, like didn't do the cars. Now, would I feel comfortable personally giving them my money right now? No, I would not, especially because there are multiple other options that do the same thing. Would I send them my car? No, I would not. But like apparently,
Vin's car works.
His car, he got the kit and installed it himself.
Right. So like that's one way to do that.
Cash was exchanged for parts. The parts came and he put them in the car. Mm-hmm. That's a little different than sending your car down there,
right,
and having them to do it. But the bottom line is the guy who was the really problematic CEO of the company is out. And so I will give them the benefit of the doubt today, especially because multiple people that I know have bought the kit, received the kit, and it works, that they are capable of selling a kit. So that's the status of it. Good question wants to know, when is Morgan sending its +4 platform to the U.S.? I have no idea, but Westside Collector Car Storage manages Morgan's press fleet in the U.S., and so we have their Super 3s right now. And so as soon as there is a Morgan press car to drive in the U.S., we will have one. Everything okay, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bad Gardener, what guest would you like to have on the podcast but have been unable to?
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean,
presidents, YouTubers, drivers.
Adrian Newey, I think would be a good one.
Yeah.
I'd like to get some Formula One champions. I mean, we have had a Formula One champion. We've had Jensen Button on the podcast.
That was fun.
We have James May coming in a couple weeks.
That's amazing.
Top Gear host.
Oh, Clarkson.
Clarkson would be a great one. I'd love to get Clarkson going and Richard Hammond.
Tick all the boxes.
Yeah, those would all be great. I'd like to have Ralph Lauren on the podcast, but I won't ask him. I'd like to get Jerry on the show, and I won't ask him either.
I think YouTubers, Chris Fix, he wouldn't do it probably because he's the masked man. He is Zorro, but I think he'd be really interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. H. Foley's freestyle mixtape. If each of you were offered a drive in any racing series of your choice, what would you choose?
I mean, rally.
Yeah.
I like the Colorado Hill Climb, which I don't need to, I just need a car and you can enter. But offering a drive, I think some sort of rally, that'd be great. That would be the most excitement.
Colorado Hill Climb
moment.
is rally without co-driver, right? Yeah. See,
and it's all dirt, so it's Pikes Peak from back in the day, basically.
Yeah.
Not
that
as
seems
exposed.
like a good time.
Yes, that's on the bucket list.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That and I'd like to do Spec E46. I mean, that's not, anyone can enter that. You just need to build a car.
You have a friend who has a car for that.
I do. Let's see.
There's 4 more.
Wyatt says, a few OEM chassis development drivers and engineers. Do you know how they got to that position? Yeah, we've had them on the podcast. You can go listen to those episodes.
Yeah, just listen to the show with
Jamal.
And
Miro. And Miro from Croatia.
I think the TLDR is if you're an engineer, you got to start working at an OEM. And if you're an engineer who can drive, you'll probably find your way in that part of the field just by having those 2 pieces of knowledge.
Yeah. Marty McFly 86. What would be the front wheel drive equivalent to the BMW build that we did, or what car would we choose in that case?
Like this weird crossover situation?
No, the 135. Oh, the BMW
You're
build.
probably right.
Probably the giveaway car, right?
Yeah, giveaway car.
I would say probably like a GTI.
You took the words out of my mouth. It'd be fun to mod a GTR. They're so good.
Yeah, they're fun.
They're such good cars.
Once you get past about 300 horsepower, it's just unusable torque steer, but they are very nice cars.
Or maybe a Civic Si, like
is
late 90s,
the new
but they're
GTI
expensive.
out? The one without the haptic? They took that away. Is that out yet?
I don't know if press cars have arrived yet. Not sure.
Big Ben says, I read and then confirmed for myself that on my F80, BMW put different stability control settings and the MDM mode on American cars compared to European cars. The result is American cars having a more intrusive, less playful MDM mode. Do you know of any other manufacturers doing this to sports cars, or can you think of a logical reason why they would do this other than thinking Americans are inferior drivers? I would say it's more regulatory than just their opinion of. There might be, and I'm speculating, but there might be a law that says with traction control on, you may only allow this much yaw, this much wheel speed before it does that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of another company doing this because I don't plug in and check the code of other companies.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything about this, but it's pretty interesting. But probably a legal reason.
Yeah. This is the first I've ever heard of that, but I can't imagine it would just be a choice of some guys in Munich going, these fucking Americans can't drive. I'm not going to do that. It seems more likely that it's regulatory. right?
Probably. Because I think, well, I guess, I don't know. In Germany, when you get your driver's license, I know they do a lot more training than we do, but do they do oversteer wet surface training? I have no idea.
Not to get a regular driver's license.
So it's not like Finland where they're like, you have to go drive in the ice. So I don't think they would go, well, Germans are better at oversteer than Americans. Probably.
Think the cars come on different tires?
I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure there's like PS4s and PS4s. I
also wonder if there's different settings. If it's maybe if he was comparing a manual car and a DCT car, was the study controlled for that, or was it changed for different years? Where was he comparing a 2014 manual sedan to a 2016 DCT coupe?
I don't know.
I don't know. I would want to know all those things in order to determine what factors could be at play. But I can't imagine it's just them being like, fuck these Americans.
Fucking stream quit again.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, last question will just be for the recording, I guess.
Yep.
Dave says, when it comes to the 86 and BRZ, what is the blend percentage of manufacturer? Are they both 50-50 Toyota, Subaru, or more so parts from the respective brands? I believe that Toyota is more chassis and body and Subaru is more powertrain.
That would make sense. I don't know.
The engine
for sure,
is obviously a
yeah,
Subaru engine. The gearbox is a Subaru gearbox.
Who makes the unibody?
I think that's Toyota. I think Toyota's body and chassis and Subaru is powertrain, I believe. But I could be wrong. And Subaru, man, huh? What? Am I wrong?
Yeah, so the unibody, it's called SGP, Subaru Global Platform, and that is underneath the WRX, of course, but this is Wikipedia, but it says it's also underneath the jointly developed Subaru BRZ Toyota. Oh, motherfucker, I read too quickly. Does not use the SGP.
Oh, okay.
The second-gen BRZ 86 platform has been influenced by SGP.
I see.
So, reading quickly, folks. So, yeah, I guess Toyota probably builds the unibody for that. And I'm sure influence is like Subaru knows how to put a flat engine or a flat four engine in something. They go, hey, you should use this kind of engine mount architecture.
Yeah.
And then they put it in the other car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Well, thank you for joining us on today's cruise show. We will be back next week with a whole lot more Smoking Tire podcast. Thank you to our patrons for being such good question providers today. And be sure to check out that content from Curated. I don't know when that's actually going to come out.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Absolutely no idea. But yeah, that's all. See you later.